Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I'm showing you another new character from Pokkén Tournament. It is Blaziken, and while we're here, I'm going to show you some different support Pokemon as well. So the last Pokemon we talked about was Lucario, and I wasn't a huge fan of Lucario. Once again, I'm going into the Red League. This is the third out of 5 leagues, because I figure when you've had a bit of practice with a character, started to get to grips, that is a good place to start. I think if you can't do Red League with a character, it's not particularly good. So I'm starting off, and one of the things I love about Blaziken is you can jump and dash, and that is really, really good. Now, I've got my Heat Wave there, throwing out a couple of projectiles there, and I pull off a counter attack, but unfortunately Blaziken is good with those combos, breaks in I should say, but I get a Brave Bird going, which is quite good, and another counter attack, and I even get a bit of a Blaze Kick going on there. I like the A attacks, the special attacks with Blaziken. They are pretty gosh darn good. Again, Blaziken's not so good with the projectiles, but you've got that air dash pushing R as you're jumping, which makes a hand. So my Blaze Kick does not hit particularly well there, but I all of a sudden get my Synergy Burst, and my burst attack, I should say, is going to hit, and there we go. Somewhat unfortunately, Farfetch'd has not been able to get going. It didn't charge up in time. My support gauge did not get full. There was no Farfetch'd. Hey ho, these things happen. But now my electrode gauge is full because of my cheer skill, and that's going to allow me to show you him. So again, I'm using my air dashes to get in nice and quickly because I don't really want to get into a projectile fight here. And I throw down an electrode. He basically does a giant counter attack when they try and attack, and that is quite useful. Unfortunately, breaks and gets me with a bit of a grab, and she's already used her Synergy Burst, which is not ideal. Here comes her burst attack. Am I going to be able to block it? Yes. I've got my block up, and I managed to stop it going. Now, that doesn't mean that she's not going to get some good attacks in and take a bit of a lead, as I try doing a couple of Blaze Kicks and hit with the third one, and I get my Sky Uppercut there. It's a little bit too early, but then as she's getting up, I managed to grab her with a grab attack, and off we go. Now Fennekin comes out again. He does a bit of damage and pushes you backwards, and you see that even though I blocked the Fennekin, breaks and there got a little bit of damage with that attack, but I finish with a Sky Uppercut, and life is good. Blaziken, and obviously as we go through this video, I'll be talking about Blaziken as a character, what I like and don't like, as I tend to do. And one of the things about Blaziken is the fact that he's good when you get in close. I like his special attacks, although as you're going to see in some of these future fights, one of the things you need to see about Blaziken is that you have to time his attacks quite well. Some of them can be a little bit slow. Things like Brave Bird and Blaze Kick can be a little bit slow, so you have to be a little careful sometimes. So let's just have a go of another set here. I think we're going to go with Miss Magius and Ninetales, are we? Yeah. So you do have to get the timing a little bit right, but Blaziken, he attacks fast, he's quite good for combos. Now, he is a normal character, not a speed character, but even so, he is pretty good with the old combos. I mean, I've already done a video with Sceptile. Sceptile is a speed character, and there's some good combos to be had, but I found other things I liked about Sceptile. But check that video out if you wish. So Blaziken here, I'm doing my air dash, and I get him with a Blaze Kick, and then I get a Brave Bird, and because he's stuck against the wall, I hit him with a Sky Uppercut. One of the things you can do with Blaziken is you can hold A to charge up and enhance any of his special attacks, and I could have maybe got an enhanced Sky Uppercut there, but I didn't know. It's a timing issue. Am I going to be able to get... I knew I could get the Sky Uppercut. Maybe I can get the enhanced Sky Uppercut, or maybe it's going to be a bit too slow. So I try and jump, but I get done, and I get to go over the Bullet Seed there with a Brave Bird and knock out Sceptile. Again, there's no weakness in this game. So we didn't see Miss Magia's last game. Let's have a go at Ninetales this game. He is a slow charging a support Pokemon, so we're hoping he's pretty good. I try a Brave Bird, but I get knocked out of the air. Here comes Ninetales, and that's a nice little attack. And of course, Sceptile is then sitting there, ready to be attacked. So I get some good attacks off nice and early. Now here, I decide to go for my own Synergy Burst, and I combo into my burst attack. And that's something I found with Blaziken especially is really, really good. He's got some nice little easy to do combos, and you can cancel out of that into your burst attack just by pushing the L and R buttons, and that works quite nicely. But of course, just as I'm celebrating the fact I've comboed into my burst attack, I get too close to Sceptile, I'm not blocking, and the burst attack comes out. Whenever your opponent has used their Synergy Burst, you've got to be ready for that burst attack. I wasn't, and it came back to haunt me. But I do get a bit of a Brave Bird going there. I don't knock him to the floor. I do knock him to the floor, sorry. So Sky Uppercut fails, and all of a sudden this is not looking good for me as Sceptile gets his grab attack going there quite nicely. One of the things I've learned about this game though, if you get your opponent down to very, very little health, one of the things I've found is stop trying to get in close and getting a couple of attacks, just especially if you're in field phase, just hang back and throw a couple of projectiles. Because if they've only got a couple of hit points left, that is generally going to do the trick for you quite nicely. In some of my early videos, you'll see me getting my opponent down to very little health, and then trying to rush in and do some attacks and getting caught in big combos. Doesn't happen if you sit back and throw projectiles. Now, I'm not a huge fan of doing that when I'm playing as Blaziken, you know, holding back and throwing projectiles, but to get the last few hit points off an opponent, I am fine with it. So I'm up against Garchomp here, and hopefully you guys have been watching this diary from the beginning. Hopefully you know that Garchomp is in fact my boy. I am a big Garchomp fan. I'm not liking him so much as we get into the harder difficulties on the one player, purely because I find the computer is too easy to combo it, to counter it. But he'll be coming back as we start going online, and everybody's going to know that when it's in field phase, you dig. And I should not be falling for that, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you do. I do, however, get a little bit of a combo going there, which is quite nice. I'm not able to get his strong attack, and we both counter, but he hits it, and then he gets me against the wall. And when you've got your opponent trapped against the wall, that is a good time to try and get some extra little attacks in. Now, I do get cornered a bit, but I managed to hit with a Brave Bird, and then I get a couple of attacks there, including a Heat Wave. Then I hit with a Sky Uppercut, and now we're rolling. You'll see one thing I'm doing here is I'm trying my Brave Bird a little bit too early. I need to time it as they get up, not while they're on the floor. Now, I put out my Electro there as a counter attack, but Garchomp just goes and throws a projectile at me, and that gets through it. But here I've got my synergy gauge, my burst gauge nice and full. I get my synergy burst, use my burst attack, and even though I didn't combo into it, I catch him unawares, and that is the win. Now, I've spoken in previous videos about trying to make sure that you save your synergy burst if you've got it at the end of game 1, ready for game 2. It depends, quite frankly. Blaziken does tend to build up his gauge faster than other Pokemon like Garchomp, and when you're in a close game, I'd rather just win round 1 and see how we go. So I get him with Farfetch there. Farfetch kind of runs forward and attacks him, leaves him dazed, at which point something like a Sky Uppercut will work quite nicely. Now, I'm worried here because my opponents use their Synergy Burst, and here comes their Burst Attack, and once again, I am unprepared. I'm too close, I'm not blocking, and I deserve this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not KO'd yet. I'm down to 19 health, so one thing I need to do, I need to change it to dual phase. When you switch phase, you get your health back, or you get some of your recoverable health back, if you're the one that switches phase. So I switched phase there, I got a little bit of health back, I hit with a Brave Bird, I now get him with a grab, which I timed beautifully, if I might say so myself, and then I go forward with one more Blaze Kick and pull off a fairly, shall we say it's a victory that we might not have seen coming. Now, in terms of using your Synergy Burst at the end of a round, like I've said, if you're close to a victory but close to a loss, you can use it. With the cheer skill I'm using, if you lose a round, then I'm using a general one, it's still by far my favourite, then both your support Pokemon are fully charged for the next round, and you get a big boost to your burst gauge. So if I need to use my Synergy Burst to win round 1, even if I lose round 2, I can come back in round 3 with my cheer skill, with my choice of support Pokemon, and the boost to my burst gauge, and it's not the end of the world. Now, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, it's quite good. Obviously, I would rather enter into the second round. Now, with my cheer skill, I'm always going to have, from round 2 onwards, a fully charged support Pokemon. If I can have fully charged burst and support gauge going into round 2, being 1 round up, obviously I know I've got a huge advantage. What I don't want to do is go in with a fully charged support gauge and burst gauge having lost round 1. So here again, I have to jump over his projectile, that Leech Seed, Bullet Seed style thing. I get in with a little bit of a Blaze Kick, but unfortunately, combos are going, and that is unfortunate. We both get a counter-attack. His hits, I hit with a Brave Bird, but again, the second one is not timed properly, and I get hit with a little bit of a combo here, and that is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I do manage to hit with a Heat Wave there, which is quite nice, but I jump over a Leech Seed, which comes up and hits me, and that is not ideal at all. Now, we see some Leaf Blades coming out there from Sceptile, which is unfortunate, but I've managed to get a few things going here. And I even get him with Miss Magius, but Miss Magius dropped him against the wall. I could have used something like a Sky Uppercut to end the game without using my burst attack, but I didn't. In the end, I used the burst attack. I use it a little bit too early, but as he comes down, I hit him with essentially the second phase of that attack. So again, I've got my air dash going on to get in nice and close, but it does backfire a little bit. But oh look, here's Ninetales. Is he going to come forward? Yes, he is. At which point I hit him with a Blaze Kick going into a Sky Uppercut. Quite a nice little combo, I reckon, something I'm a little bit proud of, and because he's sitting there trying to block all these things that I'm doing, I get to go ahead and get a grab attack in there as well. Also, I believe it was the Ninetales actually put Sceptile's attack down, which of course that's what the little blue fist is. Blue is when it's negatively affected, red is when it's positively affected. But again there, I go for a Blaze Kick, and I don't know exactly what I'm doing there. Whatever it was silly. He's sitting there, he's blocking, I'm not going to hit with a Blaze Kick. The tactics I was trying were not working, and to be frank, I shouldn't have used them. Not only that, but I opened myself up to Sceptile's burst attack, and that's a little bit silly. Now I get hit with a Leaf Blade, we go back into Duel Phase, and he tries with a Giga Drain, he misses it, but he's getting me, which is very close here, but I hit with a Blaze Kick, and while he's a little bit stunned, I go straight into a Sky Uppercut, and I managed to pull off another brief victory. And this is one of the things that I'm finding about Blaziken. I'm winning a lot of games with Blaziken. And, you know, I'm going through the Red League here, 3rd out of 5. I'm not, you know, I'm level 13 with Blaziken. And I've gone through a lot of, with all of these characters, I spend a good couple hours in a tutorial before I even take them into fights. So, what you can see is that I've got a little bit of experience with this Pokemon, and I'm doing quite well in the Red League. But you saw how I was with Chandelure, and how even in the Chroma League I was pulling off the odd perfect and really, you know, breaking some skulls, for want of a, shall we say, less graphic phrase. With Blaziken, it's not what's happening. I am going through the Red League and I'm winning these fights, but it is far from perfect, and I just don't have that comfort level. I do, however, like Blaziken a lot more than characters like Lucario, so there's a bonus. So I'm on the back foot straight away, we go into Duel Phase. I do manage to hit with a Blaze Kick, which is nice. I hit with a Sky Uppercut as well. And then I hit with a Brave Bird as he stands up, and that's twice in a row there. I managed to time my Brave Bird beautifully. I hit him as he was getting up, and because he didn't stand up blocking, he got hit right with them. Brave Bird is working nicely for me here, and one of the things about Brave Bird is that if you hit them into the wall, they generally tend to stay against the wall for a minute, meaning you can do something like a Sky Uppercut to do a bit more damage. Should I have tried an enhanced Sky Uppercut? Maybe I should. Because remember what I said, Blaziken, all of his A attacks, his special attacks, are ones where you can hold them in order to get a little bit more, in order to enhance them and do a bit more damage. So I got a nice little combo there, but my opponent got on a nice little combo as well, and got a dig in, but that's alright. I've got my Synergy Burst, and what I'm going to try and do here is start off a little bit of a combo as I'm doing, and then we cancel it straight into my Burst attack, and if this doesn't finish off Garchomp, it's going to come pretty close indeed. Now, it says like a 250 hit combo, but it's a little bit lying. So we're down to 73 damage, and again, what I don't want to do is let him change the phase. I don't with a grab attack, and then we get a Brave Bird just to finish off, and that is the undefeated 5-0 Red League victory. Far from perfect, as I've said, but certainly it's one where you can work with. I like Blaziken. I like his special attacks, his A attacks like Blaze Kick, Brave Bird, and Sky Uppercut. As I'm sure you could tell, I like the fact that you are able to charge these attacks up and do enhanced versions of them. I like some of his combos, and one of the things I forgot to say was, and I'm sure you can see this if you didn't go back and check earlier in the video, when you get your burst going, Blaziken he gets a speed boost, but he becomes really, really fast, and that is something I like. Still not up there with Garchomp and Chandelure, but I like Blaziken very much indeed. Now here's the deal, and we will take him online in the next few weeks. You know the deal. Click that like button, click it, click it, click it, click it, click it. Have you clicked it yet? If not, why do you hate me? Put a comment down below. Do you like Blaziken? Have you got a suggestion for the next Pokemon I should be looking at for my series of Pokkén tournament videos? And of course, subscribe if you haven't done so. And find a friend, subscribe on your behalf. Think of it like homework if you have. As always, ladies and gentlemen, by far the most important thing, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.